Hello, my name is Daniel, and this is the first part of hopefully a video series of me going through the ranks of chess.com from where I'm now at 150 to where I actually am around 1600. And my hope is through 10-minute games, I can kind of explain my thought process, different principles you should know, and as we rise through the ranks, we'll get progressively more difficult concepts, and kind of build your line of thinking to ask the right questions and understand the intuition behind chess. I have a lot of friends who always say, they're really interested in chess, but they just can't think 20 million moves ahead. But I think generally, at least like at a not grandmaster level, it's much more about getting intuition about what does a good move look like, rather than completely predicting every single future potential move. For me, I normally look only one or two moves ahead, unless it's a really important position. I think hopefully my goal is to demystify the chess playing process, and whenever I come across someone new who's like, oh, I'm really into chess, or I'm really interested in chess, but I don't know how to get started, I can be like, yo, check out this cool YouTube series from a cool guy who's actually me. So without further ado, let's get started. So at the 200 level, I'm assuming you all at least know how the pieces move. 200 level is people who are very, very new to chess. They probably don't know opening principles that well. They know how the pieces move, but I think beyond that, there isn't much understanding. So to win at this level, I think the primary goal is just don't leave your pieces hanging. Don't let your pieces be taken for free, and you'll win. So this knight c3 move is pretty atypical. Generally, in the opening, you want to start out by occupying the center with your pawns. So that's why I did this pawn move, because then I control important central squares. Again, he moves his knight, which is pretty weird because still, you generally don't want to move your pieces multiple times before moving all your pieces, because now I get to develop another piece while he or she is wasting time moving their pieces all around without actually getting much development. Like you can see, it's as if even though they were white and they went first, they moved their knight out again, and then moved their knight back. That's the same result as if they had just taken one turn to move this. So now I've been able to move three pieces when they have essentially only moved one. And again, okay, no, let's not get too wild. So typically moving the knights out is pretty nice because the knight can only move here or here, really. Okay, so this is a clear blunder. They took a knight, or they took a pawn, and they're going to lose their knight for free. So now deciding which one I want to move. Both are pretty good, but notice that if we move our queen, it's as if we develop two pieces at once. While if we move our knight, our queen is still undeveloped. So we'll move our queen in. Generally in the opening, you don't want to move your queen too early, but in this case, we're so powerful. We have three pieces out in the center. They have nothing. I'm not scared. So next we'll just move our knight out. And one important, confusing, okay, anyway, so let's notice again, this pawn is undefended. This bishop, it wants to go in the center and occupy some, contribute to society. So, very natural, just take the pawn, and not only do we get a free pawn, we get free development, because they wasted a turn moving out the pawn, and we got to develop our bishop for free. And yeah, this is an important concept that you want to think about in the opening is how can you most efficiently develop your pieces? You want to get them into the center without letting your opponent develop for free and chase your pieces away. What that means is, if they get to chase your pieces away, like I did with the knight, then they're essentially able to develop for free as well. And we call that an advantage in development. Okay, bishop b2. It's a pretty good move. Bishops are generally happy on long diagonals, and this is a nice, pretty long diagonal for the bishop to see. Still, this pawn is defended by our knight and only attacked once, so we will just ignore it for now. Let's see. Next up, let's castle. Never hurts to castle. It brings your king to safety, brings your rooks into the game, and if you don't really know what to do and there's no immediate threat, you can always just castle. Oh, okay, again, yeah. Took our pawn, but a bishop is worth way more than a pawn, and it was defended, so we'll just take it for free. As you can see, these 200 games are super easy. It's really just a matter of, do you know how the pieces move? You do? Okay, cool. You're gonna win. Let's see. So where do we want to move our queen? Our queen is being attacked, and notice that if we move our queen away, say like this square, then the rook can take this pawn for free. My next question is going to be, do we care about that pawn? Also, honestly, not really. I think we have such an advantage in development where we can kind of just ignore it and just go for the throat. So we'll say, okay, we'll take a pawn, you can take a pawn, enjoy yourself. I'm gonna go for checkmate. And you can see I'm really not thinking far ahead at all. It's just looking a single move ahead and just intuitively trying to bring my pieces into the center. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's just a one move threat. Again, I'm not afraid. I got a pawn for free. And now let's not be too greedy. Let's just bring our queen back somewhere to safety. And again, you want to think, what's a good square? And really just anywhere where the queen can see a lot of different area makes the queen more useful. So we're going to bring it right into the center. It can't be attacked that easily, and it's look at all of these lines. Oops, look at all of these lines that are being seen. It's wonderful. It's doing so much. So yeah, I think the enemy is not long for this world. Ooh. Okay. No big deal. Let's just bring another piece into the game. And, our bishop's looking sad. Actually, I think our rook will be more useful. Look at this. Once we bring the rook here, it's staring straight at the king. Minus some other things, but staring straight at the king. And we actually have a really funny checkmate idea. We're going to do it now. This one's pretty advanced, but I like it so much that I have to do it. So notice that the rook is indirectly looking at the king, and this knight can put the king in check. And so this knight can move here, put the king in check, and if this pawn were unable to take the knight, the king would have nowhere to go, and that would be checkmate. And ordinarily, you wouldn't be able to do this because the pawn would just take the knight. But in this case, we have the rook staring indirectly at the king, which means when our knight is here, our rook is staring straight at the king, only blocked by this one pawn. So this pawn is unable to take the knight because then the rook would be able to directly see the king. That's an illegal move, which means the knight here is checkmate. It's a beautiful checkmate. It's called a smothered mate. Super cool, super rare. So yeah, I'm really happy, and seems like the computer liked us too.